All right, so let's talk about books. This is just a partial selection, but these are some of my favorites. So for blacksmithing, these are almost all blacksmithing or blacksmithing related. There's a couple of classics here. Practical Blacksmithing is incredible. This is all articles from a blacksmithing magazine in the 1800s. There's over 1,000 pages here, 4 volumes in one. This is a fairly common reprint that you can get very, very reasonably. So this is Practical Blacksmithing, edited by M.T. Richardson. And I get asked a lot, people want to know, where do I buy my books? I look at a lot of different websites. I look at eBay, Amazon, but I get a lot of books from AbeBooks, abebooks.com, as well as Better World Books, Alibri, Adall. There's a bunch of different websites you can check. The Art of Blacksmithing is pretty good. It's not a good beginner book, in my opinion, but there's some stuff in there that is interesting as you get deeper into blacksmithing. American Blacksmithing by Holmstrom and Holford. This is one of my absolute favorite blacksmithing books. It's actually 2 books in one, a different author for each, and again, this is a not too uncommon reprint. And this book is just solid gold. Lots and lots of good stuff in there. This is not strictly a blacksmithing book, but Eric Sloan. If you don't know who Eric Sloan is, you need to get edumacated. So this is actually my 3 favorite Sloan books in one volume. So the volume is called Sketches of America Past. It has Diary of an Early American Boy, A Museum of Early American Tools, and A Reverence for Wood. These 3 books are totally gold again. So that's an absolute must. These 2 books here, Tools for the Trades and Crafts, an 18th century pattern book, with documentary by Kenneth D. Roberts Fitzwilliam. Anyway, these 2 books are pattern books, so they're reprints of late 18th century, early 19th century wholesale catalogs from tool manufacturers. So these are awesome. These have all kinds of cool stuff. Everything in these catalogs, all the metal items would have been hand forged, the iron items. All of these things would be hand forged. This book is a pattern book of tools and household goods, published by the Early American Industries Association. They have all kinds of cool stuff. But this is a fairly exact reprint, and most of the drawings in here are life size. So you can literally use them as patterns for making things. I have a nutcracker. Let's see. This is kind of the same thing. It's another pattern book. It has a lot of things that this one doesn't have. This is actually a later one from about 1845. Lots of the same stuff, but also a lot of other things. Everything in here is scaled down a bit, but it tells you, like this is reduced 25%, so you can scale things up pretty easily. Tons of cool stuff in here. Woodworking tools, hammers, axes, cleavers, pliers, braces, vices, all kinds of cool stuff. This is an absolute staple in my library. All these are great, but I use this book a ton. This is Early American Wrought Iron by Albert Saun. This book was written about 100 years ago. This is 3 volumes in one. So make sure you get the edition that has all 3 volumes in one. This is not a super cheap book, but if you check all those websites religiously over a period of time, you'll probably be able to find it for $40 or $50. Some people want outrageous amounts of money for it. This is another one of those. This is not a cheap book. Oh, well, let me go back to this and just treat on this a little bit more. This is literally like there's around 250 pages, I guess, and there's tons, I mean gobs of latches. This is all early American stuff. Almost everything in here is pre-Civil War, and most of it's 1700s, 1600s, Tons of latches, hinges, door bolts, gobs and gobs of hinges. Literally like hundreds and hundreds of different hinges. All this is purely hand-forged ironwork. So an incredible resource. And a little bit of like gates and brackets and stuff like that. This is all like 18th century stuff, 1700s. Some of that architectural stuff in there. It's got boot scrapers. There's some boot scrapers. It's got boot scrapers, shutter dogs, all kinds of stuff. Oh, there's also, I forgot, there's some cool hearth cooking stuff in the back. There's a couple pages of andirons, and anyway, lots of cool utensils. Candle holders, lighting fixtures. Lots and lots of excellent pieces. Be a lifetime's work to try to make one of each in there. So then this book, this is another one. This is not a cheap book, but it is worth every penny in my opinion. Colonial Wrought Iron, the Sorber Collection by Don Plummer. And this actually has photographs. Most of the photos have measurements on them. So rough measurements so that you can kind of figure out, you can reproduce pieces from these photos fairly easily. So lots of just absolutely gorgeous, amazing colonial period ironwork. Again, lots of the same sort of stuff, but some of it's in better detail with it's all photos. There's some tools, some really cool nail making tools, nail headers combined with a hot cut and a flipper, and hacksaws. Again, lots of hardware and tools. Way more tools than is in that other book. There's some beautiful hardware. Anyway, this is a great resource. And in my opinion, like I said, it's worth the money. But again, most of these books, even if you look around and you see them, and most people are asking a couple $100 for them, if you look long enough, you'll be able to find them fairly cheaply. So then here, this is volumes 1 and 3, of the 3-volume set of books that Mark Asprey has put together. And I don't use these as much as I should, or as much as I thought I would, but they're excellent for beginners. They have incredibly detailed step-by-step projects on all kinds of things, from tool making. This book, let's see, this one is focused on getting started, hand tools, and then projects. So this is this is the Skills of a Blacksmith series, Volume 1. Excellent, amazing book for beginners. And these are about, I think, $60 or $70 a piece, but they are super high quality, worth every single penny. So Mark Asprey, he's also got a great YouTube channel with excellent videos. And then Volume 3 is on mastering the fundamentals of traditional joinery. So pass-throughs and tenons. And he goes through step-by-step how to make a lot of different tools to make joinery. So that's something that really interests me. I'll be using both these books in the future, but especially that one. Let's see, last two. This is, if you're interested as I am in really early stuff, this is Mechanic Exercises, or the Doctrine of Handiworks by Joseph Moxen. This is a reprint, obviously. And this book was originally published in 1683. And there's a significant, it covers a whole bunch of different trades: smithing, joinery, carpentry, turning, and bricklayery. This is the 3rd edition from 1701. But there's a pretty great section on smithing, and it's more of it's not so much a how-to, although there is some very interesting, helpful information. As it's more of a description of the trade. Let's see, last one. This is a little bitty book that is awesome. A friend of mine, Instagram friend, put this book together, Making a Basic Padlock, Patterns and Instructions. So this is literally a step-by-step how-to. And if you're a blacksmith with much skill at all an intermediate blacksmith, you can figure this out. This is not complicated, and Thomas really makes it easy, even if you are, a beginner with a little bit of skill under your belt. So try it, you'll like it. It's a great little book. So yeah, that's the start. Some of the highlights from my growing collection of books. I hope that some of these are helpful, and yeah, just check out all those different places to look for good prices on them, and y'all enjoy. Good books are worth it, and even though it's great to have YouTube and Instagram and all of the other electronic media we have, it's hard to beat a paper book for reference to look at and to get inspiration from.